Hello everyone. I'm doing this video because probably most of you lately have seen uh, Cuban protesters in Washington D.C. and probably most of you must have been thinking, um, what's going on with these guys? Why are they protesting? And they should be, happy because they, in their country, I mean, Cuba, they have I don't know, free healthcare, free education, and it's not like that. And that's why I'm doing this video. Because the majority of Spanish speaking people, they already know what's going on in Cuba, but not English speakers. Because usually English speakers, they know about Cuba because of their of Cuba ministers that they speak, a lot of fabulous things about Cuba. But this is not the case. We want to protest in front of the White House in Washington D.C. because when the COVID-19 started, we had no cases in Cuba. Positive cases. We had no positive cases in Cuba. And we Cubans living outside of the country, we ask the government to close the borders so the COVID don't get into Cuba. And what the Cuban government did, they opened the borders. I mean, they kept open the borders. And even worse, they started to inviting COVID-19 sick people to go get cured in Cuba. And because of that, Cuban people get infected. After that, we things started to get worse. They started to keep people in their houses after 9 p.m. until 5 a.m. in the morning, and telling them that at that time to minimize the risk. But on top of that, there's no food in Cuba. In Cuba, there's only government enterprises. There is no like here, like in U.S. that you have private enterprises, private businesses. No, not in Cuba. In Cuba, you only have, if you want to have a job, and let's say, let's be clear, the 99% of the businesses in Cuba belongs to the government. And 1% it's private. So, and they paid you in Cuban pesos. So right now, in the black market, you can exchange the exchange rate on the streets. It's like, I don't know, like 75 Cuban pesos for $1. And the government has stores, like grocery stores and stuff like that. But they sell in U.S. dollars, euros. Cuban people don't get paid in that currency. How come you're gonna do that to the Cuban people? So if you live in Cuba and you don't have you don't have anyone living outside of the country who can like send you remittances, you're done. You're totally done. because there's no mean for you to get, that food from the stores. So people have been lately, people have been like complaining for over 62 years since they, took power, since the communists took power in Cuba. But lately, because of that situation, oh, and on top of that, they don't even have healthcare, because the healthcare is I forgot the word. How you say that word in English? Collapsed. So people started thinking, if I stay at home, I'm gonna die because of the COVID-19, or starving because I don't have any means to get food. You know, so they realized that the only chance they had was going and take the streets and protest to get freedom. And that's what they did. They took the streets asking for freedom. They wasn't asking for food. They wasn't asking for medication. They wasn't asking for anything like that. They were asking for freedom. That's why we went to Washington, D.C. So Biden could do something to support the Cuban people, help them to get their freedom. That's why we were protesting in Washington, D.C. Because the Cuban government says, because the embargo we don't have food, because the embargo we don't have medicines. And that's a lie. Because the embargo doesn't prohibit for Cubans to harvest or fishing. Who does it? The Cuban government. If you plant, let's say you have 1 acre of your own in Cuba, and you want to plant whatever and then sell those goods, you can't. Because you have to take those goods, let's say avocado, you got to take those avocados and sell them to the government. And the government pays you whatever he wants. Let's say, I don't know, like 5 Cuban pesos each. And that's wrong, because when you go out to the streets looking for avocados, you can get one, I don't know, like $15 or $20. You can't force me to sell you my goods in the price you want. That's why no one wants to harvest. That's why there's a lot of countrymen in Cuba that they don't do anything with their land because of that. How come? You it's crazy. How come you understand that Cuba is an island, right? And fishing is forbidden. Let's say now you take your boat, I mean like homemade boat, let's say like handcrafted boat. You take your boat and you go to the sea, and let's say you fish like, I don't know, whatever. And then you bring it back to land and you start like walking with your fish, and you fished it. And there comes a police officer, right, and fine you because fishing is forbidden. So they're forcing the people to starving. So that's why the Cuban people took the streets because they tired of that. You know, because enough is enough. That's why we went to the White House demanding Joe Biden to do something. But what we get? Nothing.